Hi, I'll talk a little bit about the second law of thermodynamics, entropy basically, and in combination with the distribution of wealth and some evolution thrown in there. Some people state that without a government, so in a situation where all human interactions that are voluntary are considered thumbs up and all that are coercive are considered thumbs down. They say that the wealth differences between the rich and the poor would increase because basically the argument is the government with their progressive taxation equalizes the discrepancies of wealth. And I claim that this statement violates the second law of thermodynamics, so bring some physics into it, and I'll try to prove it. Some creationists also say that evolution must be inconsistent with the second law because the second law says chaos increases and evolution says it increases, order increases. So first a little explanation about what the second law means. It basically says chaos increases or order decreases over time. They call this entropy. Entropy increases. Entropy is a measure for disorder. Now, it is a bit of an odd one out, the second law, compared to all the other laws of nature, because all the other laws are time symmetrical, which means that you can run them back and forwards in time and they're always valid. So if you take a video, for example, of a tennis ball coming in here, bouncing on the floor and going out there again, if you take that video and you run it backwards, you wouldn't see anything strange about it. It wouldn't violate any laws of physics. It would look very natural as well. So the direction of the movement is not included in the laws of physics. And you might say, but if I replace the tennis ball by an egg, I would clearly see the difference, because the egg would be like whoosh, splat, and it wouldn't jump up. And that is a consequence of the second law, but not of the other laws of physics, because basically all the energy and matter is still there. Even if the egg is splattered on the floor, you could have a situation that all the vibrations of the molecules in the floor on which the egg splattered come together in a synchronized way, and they all help together, and they all push by pure chance in the same direction, so that they push the yolk and the eggshell together to form an egg again and give it just enough energy to bounce out of the view of the camera. That would all be valid according to all the other laws of physics as well. No laws of motions are violated there. But the second law says that it is very statistically unlikely that all these molecules in the floor would synchronize their movements have their movements synchronized by accident, by chance, in such a way that they push together a whole egg from the remainders of the splattered egg, while the other way around is much more likely, an egg splattering into a lot of chaos. Another way to look at it is if you take an empty bottle and you put 2 carbon dioxide molecules in there, then the chances that they are at the same locations is very small. It only happens once every 3 or 4 hours, for example. Now if you take 3 molecules, then it is only once a week, I think. And if you take 1,000 molecules, then the chances that they are accidentally at the same location, like, hey, you're here, gather together, is very small indeed, and it will happen only one every trillion years or something. So basically the second law says that configurations of matter, in this case the carbon dioxide, that are more likely will occur. That's where the direction of time is of the other laws of physics, so they will move towards a more chaotic distribution, and if you start out with all the carbon dioxide molecules in one very spot and you let it go, then they will not form more order and get more in there together. They will disperse. Now, another way to see it is that a castle over time turns into a ruin, but you never see a ruin turn into a castle. Now, can you say that humans violate the second law of thermodynamics? They can build a castle from a pile of rubble. So is the human an exception to it? Is there a ghost in the machine that is not captured by the second law? Like a second law has no grip on it. It's the non-material ghost. No. The humans do not violate the second law when they build a castle from a pile of rubble, because you do not only you should not only look at the visible order that is created in building the castle, but also in the invisible chaos that is created by all the energy the humans burn. So they burn a lot of complex molecules, namely sugar molecules, into carbon dioxide and waters in very simple molecules. So they break down order at the molecular level. And it's the same like Frederick Bastiat said when in his broken window fallacy. You not only should look at the visible, but also at the invisible or the unseen. It's like when the government has a bridge built over a river, you can put the cameras on there and say, look, they built this bridge and we wouldn't have the bridge without the government. But you also have to look at, they took resources away by force from somewhere else. So you have to go to an empty meadow and say, look, here is the hospital that was not built because of the government forcing these resources towards a bridge being built. So you get something in return for this the money, but it was something that people did not voluntarily choose for. They would have chosen something else. You get something that you rather not have. It was not highest on your priority list, because highest on your priority list you would automatically voluntarily choose to have that done, but by force something on place number 5 of your priority list is lifted to place number 1. So basically you're less unhappy. So you have to look at the seen and the unseen, and that's also the case with entropy. You have to look at the unseen chaos you create by burning complex molecules into simpler ones. So you use energy to create this order. How did you get these complex molecules? You ate them because you ate plants, or you ate animals that ate plants. And can plants now violate the second law? Because plants can take very simple molecules and build complex sugar molecules out of them. And again, plants are also no exception to the laws of physics or the second law, because plants use energy from the sun to do this trick, and without energy from the sun they couldn't do it. So then you have to include the sun into the whole picture, and if you say, okay, we take the sun and the earth, yeah, then entropy still increases, because the sun burns an enormous amount of fuel and creates an enormous amount of chaos, and goes steadily from order to chaos. So basically the whole universe from its conception was very ordered, and it moves to more and more dispersed and chaotic and cooled down state. So plants do not violate the second law, and you have to look at the whole system. So if creationists say evolution violates the second law, then it's not the case. It's only because the energy of the sun comes in, and then you have to include the sun, and then it is not a violation of the second law. And yes, in the long time, the entropy increase will shut down life, because the sun will run out of fuel, and the energy would stop coming in. The plants could not convert to sugar molecules anymore, and then life would stop to exist. Yeah, so in the long run, evolution is impossible. But in the short run, with energy coming in, it's no problem. So this is the evolution thing. Then you have the statists say two things.